So I was a kindergarten teacher. I taught English as a second language. And the thing about teaching kindergarten is that you have to teach kids how to rhyme. Doesn't that sound like fun? It is a nightmare because it takes 8 weeks. And toward the end, it just starts to feel like you're doing this over and over again. Okay, class, we can do it this time. The word is dog. Does it rhyme with kite, day, or frog? Little boy would raise his hand. Day. Oh. You're getting closer. And there was one class I almost gave up on. And then a little girl raised her hand and she said, "Miss Moore, I just realized your name rhymes with bore." And I said, "Well, that's right, Juanita. It's a little hurtful, but it's correct." And like a miracle, that made the whole class get it. So, as a class, they went, "Oh, Miss Dorr, Miss Four, Miss Gore, Miss Ho." And you know, there's only one thing worse than having a group of 5-year-olds call you a bad name, and that's having to look them in the eye and tell them that they're right. I had some weird teachers myself growing up, though. I'm from Tennessee originally. And I had this one teacher who was just way too into the Civil War. Like, he had that mustache. He did reenactments. Twice a year, they let him bring in a cannon. He's too into it. And anytime he got to a chapter that would even remotely reference that war, he would go, "You know, more Americans died during the Civil War than in any other war in history." Well, who could have guessed that? It's almost as if we were fighting ourselves. I should give him some slack, though, because I was a pretty weird kid. I remember in elementary school, all of my friends wanted to be singers and marine biologists, and I wanted to be a Walmart cashier. But I got to college, and I went and joined a sorority, and sororities, they get a bad reputation, but I actually owe those women a lot. Because if it wasn't for those girls, I may honestly still believe that I can't black out. And that would be a shame, because I discovered that I actually kind of like the morning after you black out. Because when I was a kid, I loved mysteries. And the morning after you black out, it's the only time in your life where you get to be the lead detective and the victim. My mom is the exact opposite, though. My mom hasn't had a drink in 20 years, goes to the meetings and everything, and not everyone knows this, but when you give up drinking, you usually have to replace it with something else. And some people replace it with work, and some people with food, and other people get very into crafts. A lot of painted rocks in my house. A lot of rocks painted with the word "breathe" on them. She's a good person, though. She helped me move into my first apartment after college, which is in a terrible neighborhood. So one morning, I remember my bike tires got stolen, and that didn't upset me. It was a bad neighborhood, so I wasn't surprised. What upset me was that my first thought was not, oh my God, my bike tires have been stolen. My first thought was, oh my God, my bike got a lot shorter. Not great. I was talking with, I live with my boyfriend now, though. We were talking about participation trophies the other day, and he was complaining that it's not fair. He gets all this bad rep just because of trophies he didn't ask for. And I was like, oh man, they gave you a participation trophy. I only ever got certificates. And I was grateful if it was just a participation certificate, because the worst ones were when they would try to make up their own award, like Best Smile or Most Improved. I once got a certificate that said I was most like Shrek. But he's a good guy. We've been dating about 3 years now, and I remember when we first started going out, he turned to me one evening, and he said, do you want to go on an adventure? And it was still early in the relationship, so I was still trying to seem adventurous, but I was already in my pajamas. And pajamas, I don't think they're really needed for sleeping anymore. You could sleep in your clothes. Pajamas are just a symbol to the world that you're done for the day. That's why you don't approach someone when they wear them outside. I don't know if we'll get married, he and I, but if we do, I don't think I'm going to change my last name, just because with my last name, you really don't know what you're going to get. My sister-in-law, her name was Lindsay Do-It. Now it's Do It More. I did think it was about time I took him to introduce him to my family, though. So last Christmas, I took him to Tennessee for the first time. And I was kind of worried that I wanted him to have fun with everyone because I'm the youngest of 5 kids. But then after 2 weeks, he ended up having so much fun that he turned to me and he said, you know, I really think that I want to have 5 kids too, like your family does. And I said, oh my God, who are you going to have them with? I like being from the South, though. I like Southern phrases a lot. I like the phrase, all y'all, the best. Like if a policewoman were to bust in here right now and be like, y'all need to come with me. How many of y'all? All y'all. So I don't teach much anymore. Before I go, do you guys want to learn some sign language? Yay! Oh, good. I won't teach you too much, don't worry. But I found out recently that the sign for sign language is, doesn't that look like it was created by a guy who had no idea what sign language was? Like he was just walking along one day and saw someone and went, what do you guys, what's all this then? Thank you so much.